Before we start the video, I would like to disclose I was having a bit of a skill issue during the gameplay. I hope you enjoy watching me die over and over again, because that's exactly what happened. Hi all, welcome to PleightPad. You guessed it, this video is about controllers. By my channel description, video content, and the passion behind my scripts, you could probably tell that I really like gamepads. By some standards, some might even call it an obsession, or perhaps even a sign that something in my brain is horribly wrong. Mayhaps something keeps persisting at me from the void, constantly telling me that I need to make videos about strange input devices. Who knows? That being said, there is a controller I use way more often than any other controller. To say I love every controller equally would be a bold-faced lie. Well, which one is it? Is it the Xbox Series 2 Elite controller, complete with 4 totally unnecessary but very cool back buttons with stick drift? Mayhaps it's the PowerA Fusion Pro wireless controller for the Switch, also complete with 4 programmable back buttons. No? Please tell me it's the cool looking Afterglow controller in your banner. Though I do love these controllers, I actually don't use them all that often. All these controllers have very cool attachments and gimmicks, but they pale in comparison to the objectively best controller of all time, the Wii Classic Controller. This controller is beyond amazing. If you don't want to hear it from just me, this whole video was inspired by a conversation I had in an unrelated ASMR Discord server. Like usual, I was yapping about how great the Classic Controller was in general chat. Keep in mind, this is a server full of people I don't know super well. I was also yapping about a topic completely unrelated to the server itself. No one had to respond if they didn't want to. If they wanted to, they could have just ignored my comment and talked about something else. Being shown on screen are their genuine, unprompted responses. Shout out to Sleepy server, y'all are awesome. I doubt I have to divulge much into the history of the Wii itself. Most people who grew up in the early 2000s probably have fond memories of drifting in the wrong direction, because the Wiimote decided it's time to go left when you clearly tilted right. Who could forget the first time they decided to throw a bowling ball backwards just to see what would happen? Side note, the Wii was the first console that taught me I'm particularly terrible at Mario games. The farthest I ever got in a New Super Mario Bros. Wii was halfway through World 2. But Plate, the Mario games are so easy. I know, okay? My general skill issues aside, one thing I actually did not get to grow up with was the Wii Classic Controller. I actually didn't know it existed until way later, like 2018 later. Back then it was not super easy for me to get my hands on a controller made all the way back in 2006, but I bought the closest thing I could find. I managed to get an off-brand cheap Wii Classic Pro controller. Despite its overall clunky feel, I loved that thing. I'm proud to say I 100%ed Mario Kart Wii. Screw you, tilt controls. Nostalgia aside, I really did like the overall potential feel for what that controller could have been. I liked the concept of the controller so much I had to get my hands on the real deal. After scrounging the deepest, darkest corners of the internet for quite some time, I finally managed to purchase an official Wii Classic controller in late 2024. I am aware at that point no one was playing the Wii. I was just ultimately curious how it would work on PC games. This is what we would call foreshadowing. But Plate, you might say, it won't work on PC. Watch my last video, I'll show you how I did it there. My only real gripes with the Classic controller are the cutely placed ZR and ZL buttons, the fact you need a Wiimote for it to work, the missing ability to press in the joysticks as buttons, and my preference to map the controller to the Xbox ABXY format. Plate, why don't you just use an Xbox controller? Thank you, dear viewer. Let me answer your question with an unnecessarily longer question. How long do you have your Xbox controllers until they either break or get stick drift? I've only had my Xbox Series 2 Elite controller for a year, and it already has stick drift. The Classic controller has been in existence since, probably, 2006. And has been in nearly constant use since last year. Side note, notice how I said probably 2006. As I was writing the script, I checked the patent date on the back of the controller, and to my surprise, it said patent pending. I figured if it was made before the patent was sealed, I could safely assume when it was made. So I looked up when was the patent for the Wii Classic Controller filed. The only things that popped up on Google were numerous articles saying how Nintendo was getting sued for patent infringement because of the Classic Controller. I ended up giving up on trying to find the patent date to look up if my initial point was even correct. By the way, I am super aware there are written cases of the Classic controller getting stick drift. Mine hasn't gotten stick drift yet. That's the real point here. Moving on, this controller feels like it was made with quality in mind. The gamepad has just enough heft to remind me I'm holding something, but isn't so heavy that my weak gamer arms will get tired. The buttons click nicely and the triggers feel a lot nicer than you would expect. I mean, just look at the controller for a second. Trust me, I'm aware of its quirks. This controller begs so many questions. These inquiries include, but are not limited to, how do I press ZR and ZL? How do I grip the controller in such a way that it's stable in my hands? I can explain. Just from a single glance, I could tell this controller is a reference to the SNES controller. That's probably why it looks like that. Did people even like the SNES controller when it came out? I wouldn't know since the SNES stopped being sold right before I was born. I've never actually held an SNES controller in my own hands. Anyway, let's cut to the chase. You might be wondering why I'm even claiming to defend this controller in the first place. As I've stated, it probably shouldn't exist for legal reasons. I didn't grow up with it, it's weird to hold, its buttons are strangely placed, it's inspired from a controller I never used, and it's for a system that no one played since the 2010s. However, that's the whole reason why I love it. This controller certainly isn't perfect, but neither are we. This controller reminds me of people in a way. No, I'm being serious. No one is truly the perfect person, but regardless, you could still connect with anyone given enough time and effort. We, as humans, are given the gift to love things that aren't perfect. I think we ought to use that gift more often, even if it's just for a weird controller from more than a decade ago. At its core, my love for the Wii Classic Controller is what spawned this channel in the first place. Some people might find it as a useless, torturous venture to make old, borderline unusable gamepads work. I see it as a way to preserve history. Not just the controller's history, our history. The same Wiimote I failed at playing Mario on so long ago is being used right now. I'm using it to connect my classic controllers with the computer to play Doom, because the Wii Classic Controller is awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I really hope you guys have a nice rest of your day.